You said that you're 17 years into survivorship.
Yes.
And a lot of people think it ends with ringing the bell.
Oh.
But, you show me that it's much more complicated than that. What does survivorship look like for you?
Survivorship for me looks like, one, spreading awareness, right? Making sure that as many women as I can talk to know that 1 in 8 women are going to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Black women have a 40% higher chance of dying. Letting people know that stress does play a factor, and they're now having research that speaks to that, whereas they didn't have that back when I was diagnosed, right? It was like, oh, it's got to be all these other things. And I think that a lot of times we pay so much attention to the external stuff, right? Like, what are you eating? What are you putting on your body? And all those things. But I don't think that we think about how living with suppressed emotions, living in long-term high stress environments, like that breaks down your immune system.
So you call yourself a breast cancer recovery strategist.
Yes.
That's a big title.
Yes. We're going to strategize this thing, okay? Oh. Because we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the system of our strategies, right?
Say it again, girl.
We don't rise to the levels of our goals, meaning I can say I want to lose 20 pounds all day long. I'm going to fall to the system of my strategy. What's my strategy to lose that 20 pounds? What's my strategy to eat better? What's my strategy to reduce my stress, right? Like, you have to have a strategy. My strategy for one of the things I also read when I was researching how to keep cancer in remission was, because that's what they called it back in the Gap, was everything I read talked about working out, right? How it can greatly reduce the risk of a recurrence. And then I read that the people who are more successful with their workouts and more likely to stick to it are the people who work out in the mornings, because it's less likely for something to come up.
Well, very
right?
true.
And it just made sense to me. So I made a strategy. I got me a workout buddy so that there was going to be someone else saying, hey, are we going to work
accountability,
out? Right, my accountability buddy. And then I got me a trainer, but I was broke, right? Because remember, I left the high-paying job. So we found a trainer who would train us both for the price of one.
Nice.
And I always tell people, start small, right? Like, we started out 3 days a week. And it was so funny because I remember our first conversation with him. And he said, all right, I'll see y'all at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, wait, what? You want me to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning? And he was like, no, I want you to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning. You get up at whatever time you need to be here at 5. And it was hard. Like, it was like pulling teeth at first, but then I fell in love with it. Right. And so my strategy now is it has to happen first thing in the morning, or it's not happening. I lay the workout clothes out.
So you're very intentional.
Evening. I'm very intentional. The alarm is across the room, so I got to get up. So it's about creating strategies, right? Which is why I call myself a breast cancer recovery strategist. I want women to prioritize what they're putting in their bodies, what they're putting on their bodies, how often they're moving their bodies. It doesn't have to be in the gym. Find something you love doing, right? And reducing their stress.
So, there's so many young women that are in high-powered jobs or stressful, jobs. And we're seeing a lot more Black women being diagnosed, as we talked about earlier, particularly under 40. What are some stress-reducing strategies that you talk to some of your clients about?
I think that first we can't talk about, especially with Black women, being in high-stress situations without talking about why. Right. And I know that for most Black women, we've all heard you got to work twice as hard to get half as far. Right. So we've already, as a child, been put in this position of having to prove our worth. Right. And so in a lot of these high-powered positions, I believe that a lot of Black women suffer from imposter syndrome because of this narrative that we've been told and fed and programmed with. And so they're constantly trying to prove, I got to work these extra hours. I got to be better than everybody else. I got to prove my worth, right? And that leads to stress and anxiety, trying to be all things to all people, not wanting to say no, not wanting to disappoint people. One of my clients, we were talking, and her director came in from wherever she's from to Houston, and her director had been out at all these other meetings all day long, and then she came in at 4:30 and was like, okay, team, let's meet. And like so many of the people had things that they needed to do after work, taking care of their families, picking up their kids, getting dinner, whatever. Nobody in the room said, hey, do you think we can table this to tomorrow? Does it have to happen tonight? But you will find that so many people won't do that. And I always say it's about self-advocacy, right? Ask for what you need. And to reduce your stress is going to take vulnerability.
And boundaries.
And boundaries. You have to ask for what you need. And so I think that with regard to women, we don't ask for help because we think it makes us weak. We don't set boundaries because we don't want to disappoint other people. And I held a talk, and I asked the women there, who were all Black women, if they were tired of the strong Black woman narrative. And there was not one woman on that call who was like, I'm sick of it. They were all sick of it.
Interesting. Yeah. It is something that is tagged on our back, whether we're younger, whether we're older, and something that we try to strive to live up to. And so I could see how the setting boundaries and being intentional about putting yourself first, and it's changing a mindset.
Absolutely.
Because you've been conditioned for so long.
Programmed. It's programming. And so I think that one of the things that you condition as young girls, as adult women.
And it's been tagged on our back.
That's what I was going to say. Thank you. Is that, and it's not just breast cancer, right? For Black women. Yeah. Black women are being diagnosed and dying at a higher rate than any other group. And that's something to look at, right? Like we are leading in obesity. We are leading in heart disease. We are leading in maternal mortality rates. We are leading in hypertension. We are leading in stress. We are leading in burnout. And the one thing that all of those things have in common is stress.